I'm Katy and welcome to my YouTube channel. I've decided to start a YouTube channel. I've finally plucked up the courage because I spend most of my evenings watching YouTube, and I thought, what a better way to start 2021, sitting down in front of a camera and filming what I love to talk about. So today I'm going to be talking about diet culture, especially binge eating and my experience with it. So if you want to hear more about my experience, then carry on watching. So first of all, I just want to say that I'm not a professional, and what I am going to be talking about today is simply my experience, and I don't want you to sort of take my word for anything. It's just simply my experience. So from a teenager, I started diet clubs in order to try and lose weight. So this would where I would either follow a certain plan, I'd either restrict my calories, sin, or point what I was eating. So after years of trying many different diets, I inherited a bad mentality around food. For me, losing the weight was never really the issue. I could lose the weight, but it was the unhealthy habits I then gained from those diets, which was more of the bigger problem. So what I would do is I would set myself a goal. So it would be, I've got a summer holiday, therefore, I want to lose the weight for that summer holiday. But I would be really strict on myself and, cut out foods that I loved and that I enjoyed in order to lose the weight. But then simply what would happen is after that holiday, I then basically spent the next 4 months binge eating everything I had deprived myself of, all the food that I enjoyed. So basically what happened then is I then put all the weight back on. So my weight has fluctuated over the years, which is not good for your body because 1 year I could be 2 stone lighter, the next year I could be 3 stone heavier. And I've never actually been at a point in my life where I've been the weight I've wanted to be, or looked the way I've wanted to look for a long period. It's always been yo-yo, up and down. Last year was obviously a tough year for everyone, and for me, especially with my binge eating, I really struggled with it. I basically spent the whole year emotionally, eating my emotions. I'm not unhappy, I'm not an unhappy person, but being trapped indoors all day, every day, when, you get bored and you think there's nothing really else to do, and my enjoyment comes from food. So last year I lost motivation and basically neglected myself because, let's face it, binge eating is a psychological form of self-harm. So I just want to talk about the cycle, and basically what happens is you feel deprived. Therefore, you suddenly have an overwhelming urge to eat, which then leads to the binge eating. But once you've then, had your binge eating episode, you then feel disgusted about yourself, and, the guilt starts to set in, which then basically makes you think, right, let's start the diet again. And then the cycle continues. So for me, what would happen is I'd have, a moment where I'd be really good, and then as soon as I give in, it would then be, right, well, I've eaten that one bad thing, I might as well just spend the whole weekend eating everything that I want. And last year, especially for me, takeaways, I loved, I just became lazy. I live in an area where you can get takeaways delivered to you quite easily, so takeaways I sort of depended on quite a lot. If I had chocolate, I couldn't just have a couple of bars or a couple of squares or whatever. It would be the whole bar. And then what would happen is I'd go to my local shop, and I would then literally buy every single thing I fancied. So whether it be sweet and savory, it would be popcorn, it would be crisps, it would be donuts, it would be chocolate, and then I'd basically spend the whole evening just eating everything that I wanted, which then is really bad for your mental health, because you then in the morning you wake up and you feel so ashamed of yourself. You sort of look in the mirror and you feel disgusted in yourself, and it's really not good to put yourself through that. To have someone sitting on your shoulder saying, go on Kate, eat what you want, you know, you're human, you know, you're allowed a treat. But then there's also, you know, the other person sitting on your shoulder saying, Kate, you're going to regret this, you know, tomorrow you're going to feel even worse, you're going to feel bloated, you're going to feel yourself. And it's just really an up and down, you know, up down of emotions, which is really, you know, as I said, really not good for your, you know, your mental health. Basically, what happens if you are trying to lose weight whilst having binging tendencies? So with binge eating, you know, you've got to accept that it's not just going to be a quick fix, and you know, you're not going to get over your binge eating tendencies over just 2 weeks of being, you know, not having an episode. It is going to take you a long time to get over that, and this is what I'm still learning. I'm still learning new stuff every day, and you know, it's all about congratulating yourself, you know, giving yourself a pat on the back when you know, you've completed a whole day and you haven't binged, but not being too hard on yourself if you do, because that's where it's bad for you, is you know, your mind sending you places that it shouldn't. So it's got to be a long-term lifestyle change, and like I said, I'm still learning this myself. This year I've decided to, you know, not weigh myself. I don't want to be labelled as, you know, being on a diet. I don't want a calorie count. I simply just want to do it, you know, eating the foods that I like and that I love, and you know, not being silly about, you know, what you're eating, because come on, let's face it, we all know what a healthy diet looks like. So for example, restriction. If you restrict yourself, then you are most likely to fail. So, you know, whether it's cutting out carbs, everyone seems to think that carbs are the devil. You know, don't cut out things. If you really enjoy that, just have it in moderation. Because I tell you now, the more you restrict yourself, you're more likely to fail at losing weight. So the next point is, do not diet. So, or don't say you're on a diet, because again, binge eating is all about the mind. So, you know, if you want to count calories and that works for you, then do it. You know, do what's best for you. But for me, when I, you know, was logging my calories and I was you know, inputting it into my FitnessPal every day, I then found myself thinking about food more, which is also not good for you when you have binging tendencies, because you shouldn't be thinking about food every single minute of the day. You should be having your food and feeling full after your food, because I think people really misinterpret, you know, portion sizes. Of course, don't go mad with your portion sizes, but if you're not full after your, you know, your meal, then that's, you know, you're then gonna fail, because you're gonna look for something else quick and easy to eat. You need to find something that's manageable for you, and something that's going to, you know, you're going to be able to do for the rest of your life. For me, I don't want to input my calories into a calculator every single day. That's just not manageable, and that's not maintainable for me, as I just mentioned. So, you know, you need to find something that works for you. So mistaking boredom for hunger. A lot of people, you know, when they get bored, especially working from home, you know, you find yourself thinking about food more, and you think about what's in the fridge. But first of all, what I would say is, if you are trying to lose weight, you know, buy healthy alternatives for the fridge, so that you're not thinking about, you know, what's like, I really fancy that chocolate that's in the cupboard, sort of outside, out of mind. But also, you know, when I'm bored, I like to have a hot drink or try and drink some water. The last point I want to say is that you need to enjoy every single thing you eat. If you're not enjoying the food that you're eating, you are gonna fail. And I keep talking about that, but you know, you need to feel satisfied after the meal that you've just eaten. Whether that be, you know, following someone on YouTube that does inspiring food you know, videos, or following someone on TikTok or Instagram that, you know, shares recipes with you that interest you. But I really do want to emphasize on the fact that you need to enjoy everything you eat. So I think that's everything I want to say, but I just wanted to put it out to, you know, you girls and guys out there that are struggling at the moment to, you know, get get yourself to where you're happy within yourself. And it is a journey and it does take time, and that's why I'm putting these videos out to anyone that wants to watch them, because if it makes someone else feel a bit better about themselves, or if it makes them think they're not the only person going through this, because I can assure you there are so many people going through this at the moment, especially with COVID and a lot more time to think about things, and scrolling through Instagram more, and comparing yourself to others. And I really do want to put it out to you that you're not in this alone. And if anyone needs any reassurance, or if anyone needs any someone to talk to, then I'm always there. And you're not alone, and you can do this. Just take it day by day, and you will get through it. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Mwah.